Okay, so this video is for the blog post in which I'm detailing how to do some goal tracking with Enact. And one of the things that made a lot of sense to show to you in a video instead of explain is how to go ahead and add some of those custom fields to your group record in order to track goals using groups. So I'm going to go ahead and walk you through that. This should look more or less the same whether you're on Act 2010, 2011, or 2012. Will look a little bit different if you're on a version previous to that. Okay, so I'm going to go to the Tools menu and go to Define Fields. Okay, so we're going to add some fields for the groups. I'm going to click on Create New Field, and the first one I want is Goal Description. I'm going to make this a memo field because I want multiple lines to type on. I don't want just a short little text field for this. And everything else looks good, so I'm going to go ahead and click Finish, and that field will be created. And then I'm going to repeat that process fairly quickly for current reality, options, and will. Alright, so I'm going to create a field again, pressing M here, make that a memo field. I'll finish that one. And now we're going to do options. And will. Okay, so I've got those fields. Now you could also add some additional fields. One that I would suggest you do is some kind of deadline. So we're going to create a new field for that. And let's call this complete by. Name it whatever you like, but I'm going to call mine complete by. And mine is going to be a date field. And we'll go ahead and hit finish there. Now if you want, you can add additional fields. You might want a status field to mark, whether it's done or not, or a percentage complete. At a minimum, I'd have those 4, maybe the 5 fields have the complete by as well, so you can track your deadline. Your goal should definitely have a deadline, so if you want a place to keep it, add a complete by field. Okay, now I'm going to close that. And the newer versions of Act will prompt you to modify the layout. If yours doesn't do that, I'm going to click No here. You can get into the layout modification through the Tools menu. Go to Design Layouts and choose Group. And let's go ahead and, for some reason this is sitting in the middle of my screen. That's not really normal, but what I want to do is actually I want to create a new layout. I want one layout for just my usual groups and one layout for goal tracking. In the default group layout, there isn't a lot of customization here, but maybe yours has some custom fields. You could add your goal tracking fields right here on the screen if you wanted. I'm going to add a new layout for that, just to show you what that process looks like. So I'm going to go File, New, and Group Layout. I don't want to save any changes I've made to that one. And then I'm going to go ahead and give myself a little bit more space here. I'm going to pull this down. I'll take the group description out because I don't really want that. I'm going to use the group name for the name of my goal, but then I'm going to add in some memo fields. And I'm going to select all of these at once by holding the Control key. You can do them one at a time, or you can hold the Control key like I'm doing. Leave Include Label checked off there, and click the Add button. And of course, if I'm going a little too fast for you here, keep in mind you can always back this video up a bit. You can pause it. No need to get this done at the same pace that I'm doing it. Okay, I'm going to click the Add button there, and now let's see. These are in a different order than I want, so I want them. Let's see, I'm going to grab both of these at once. I'm going to move that over here. I'm going to make my goal description sit up in the corner. Put my options beneath that. Take will and put it about there. Alright, now I'm going to select all of these. Now I'm just going to make it pretty. Alright, I'm going to make those bold. Make those a little wider. And let's line that up with this one. You could spend more time making this look a little better. I want to get this done quickly so I can just give you an idea what this looks like. Okay, so maybe you've got your boxes there. You might decide you want them a little bit bigger than that. I'm working on a small screen so that I can make my video nice and big and clear for you. Now I want to add in just a regular field. That's for my complete by date. Alright, so I'm going to choose that. I'm going to hit the add button. Let's make that one bold too. Stretch that out a bit. Okay, so now I have all the fields on the screen here. I'm going to go ahead and save that layout. I'm going to call that goals. And when I close this, I should now have goals as an option. So if you're already using a customized group layout, you can switch back and forth. And you can go and create a new group. Alright, so using my example again, I might say run maybe 10 kilometers this time. Okay, and then I'm going to fill out my goal description. I'm going to fill out the specifics of it. You know, maybe I want to run it within a certain time. When do I want to run that by? So maybe I want to be able to do 10 kilometers by March 1st. I'm going to put the date in there. I'm going to fill out what the current reality is. You know, how far can I run right now? Are there any difficulties? Those sort of things. What are my options for getting up to be able to run 10K in one shot? You know, how could I do this? And then what am I going to do? Okay, now once you have this, where using ACT really comes in handy, because realistically we could do this in a lot of other places, is to book activities onto our calendar. So now if I've filled this out and I've said that I'm going to start by running 6 kilometers twice next week, well, I can go ahead and schedule a to-do or a meeting or whatever I want it to be on my calendar. I'm logged into the demo database as Chris Huffman, so I'm going to say run 6 kilometers, and I'm going to do that. I'm going to get my first one in on the 16th. And you might put a time slot on it, you might leave it at timeless. I'm going to say that I'm going to run that at 6 a.m. and just so it shows up in the right spot on the calendar, I'm going to give myself 45 minutes to, run it, stretch afterwards and all that good stuff. Okay, and then what I would do is put in the other steps that I need here to get there. So break your goal down into chunks, figure out, what are the pieces you need to do? Is there some research? Are there meetings? And put each of the steps in here. It might be a 3-step goal, it might be something that there are 10 steps. But by putting it into ACT, keeping track of the information about it using the groups, and then being able to actually view this on your calendar, I think that it's going to help you to go a long ways to be able to complete those goals. So if you have any thoughts on this, I would love your feedback in the comments section on the blog post for this, or even in the comments below on the YouTube post where I'm going to be sharing this.